south side, so I put them as basically the north side is the part of Dublin that was founded by Vikings 1,000 years ago, and just kind of got progressively more violent as time went on. Yeah, so I live in the north side with my wife and daughter. I have a young daughter. It's been 3 years since Frozen came out, and I'm still here. And it wasn't easy. The darkest moment was probably last Christmas when my daughter was given a singing Elsa doll by a family member who has been dealt with. The toy itself is very simple in conception. It's a blonde stick. You press the button and it goes, let it go, over and 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 over, to the point where I don't think my daughter was actually playing with it. I think she was just kind of suffering from some kind of nervous tic. And as I succumbed to madness, I began to realize something. That was that as the batteries went down, the doll's voice was getting slower and deeper and more suffused with an unmistakable sense of existential ennui. And by the end of it wasn't even sounding like Idina Menzel anymore. It was sounding more like Krusty the Clown. You know, it's like, let it go, let it go. And I began to wonder what other celebrities I could make my poor unsuspecting daughter's toys sound like. And after weeks of experimentation, of swapping out expired and nearly expired batteries, I finally had it. I had my masterpiece. I held in my hand my greatest creation. I had a Winnie the Pooh that sings in the voice of Tom Waits. And it sounds a little something like this. I'm just a little black rain cloud hovering over the honey tree. I'm just a little black rain cloud, pay no attention to little me. Everyone knows that rain cloud never eats on the head, no, not a nip. And it's floating around over the ground, looking for somewhere to drip. Peerless took the tail on the owl's head, pushed the rusty nail through his brain. Let me tell you, them 100-acre woods, just 100 acres of pain. So that was what was up in the hat, in case you were wondering. I love doing impressions. I love it. My favourite impression to do is Eamon Dunphy. And I can't tell you how disappointed I was when we couldn't get him as one of the judges. But my favourite impression to do is Eamon Dunphy, and I know what you're going to say. Anyone can do an impression of Eamon Dunphy, and you're right. And mine isn't particularly good, it's not particularly funny, but it does have something that no one else has. And to explain what that is, I have to tell you about my transition year. Did anyone here do transition year? Yeah. Greatest year of my life. I was able to do my work experience in RTE because my dad knows fucking everybody. It's the weirdest thing. You know, the most random people. And he always like, how do you know this person? And he's always like, it's a long story, Neil, it's a long story. That's not what he sounds like, by the way. We sound exactly the same. But if I do an impression of him, it's just going to sound like I'm up here having a schizophrenic episode, you know. And then I punched him in the face. Really, I say he didn't like that? No, actually, he was quite irate. You know, it doesn't work. But yeah, I remember one time we came home from school and there was this old man sleeping on the couch, right? I go into the kitchen, my dad's just there, you know, chopping a carrot or possibly giving a massage to a ferret. And I said, Dad, who's that old man sleeping on the couch? He goes, it's an old friend of mine, Neil. He's just in the country for a few days. He's just going to be staying with us. All right, fair enough. Who is he? Oh, that's Nikita Khrushchev, Neil. Former leader of the Soviet Union, denounced the Stalinist purges, and then led the world to the brink of nuclear annihilation during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Aha. And how do you know? It's a long story, Neil. It's a long story. Here, this is some money from him. He wants me to give it to you. Why is Nikita Khrushchev giving you money? Did I not tell you? He's your godfather. That's your confirmation money. But anyway, I was able to do my work experience in RTE because my dad knew one of the producers because he busted him out of a Vietnamese prison camp or something, I don't know. And I was working on this Irish language documentary program called Largus. I don't know if any of you remember it. And for the show we had to go out, we had to interview Eamon Dunphy, right? So we drive out to Eamon Dunphy's studio, he comes out, he meets us, he's courtesy itself, he invites us in, tells us to sit down, offers us some cocaine, we politely refuse. We do the interview in English, he's witty and informative. But then the producer wants Eamon Dunphy to record a promo as Gaeilge, right? And what he wants to say is chlár mache, ní chlár úntache, agus chlár mache, which for the Sassenachs in the audience means it's a good show, it's not a great show, but it's a good show. You know, the classic Eamon Dunphy line, given a new twist to reflect these changed circumstances. It's funny. However, there is a slight problem. See, everyone see that pillar in the middle of the room? Is there, no, seriously, I want you all to look at that pillar while my army of street urchins, you know, just goes through your pockets. Right? See that pillar? Now, I'll tell you an interesting fact about that pillar. That pillar can speak more Irish than Eamon Dunphy. Right, so the first thing we just want him to say the line, right? But he can't, of course he can't. You know, it's like if a Chinese person, I came up to you and said, you know, say this in Chinese, and you're kind of like, it's not that I don't know what those words mean, it's my mouth doesn't know how to say those sounds. So what then we try to do is we try to write it out phonetically for him. So he's going, is car, mahe, ni, car. The joke doesn't work. No, the stresses are in the wrong place. You don't get what's supposed to happen, and we're going back and forth, and the producer's pulling his hair out. Finally, I get up, I stand up, I walk across the room, I grab Eamon Dunphy by his lapels and I say, is chlár mahe, ní chlár úntache, agus chlár mahe. And that is why my Eamon Dunphy impersonation is so unique, because I am the only one who has ever had to do an Eamon Dunphy impersonation for Eamon Dunphy, so that Eamon Dunphy knows what Eamon Dunphy is supposed to sound like. Thank you and good night.
So that's all original material, is it? Yeah. It's still at the new one, you can't prove it. No. How long did it take to come up with that?
That was the first set I ever kind of like put together. I did a stand-up course in the Gage School of Acting, and so that was kind of like, that was over a couple of weeks. I just kind of like put that together. And so obviously the joke about the North, so that was just from my most recent set in New York, but mostly it was just put together over a few weeks.
And how does this compare to New York?
Much bigger crowd. This was, in New York was just like around 12 people in a basement in Soho, slowly asphyxiating from lack of oxygen, so this is pretty good.
Okay. Well, brilliant, you did a great job. Well done, Neil. Now we're going to talk to Fiona. So Fiona, what did you think of that act?
Yeah, look, comedy is not the easiest thing to do, I suppose, coming up with the material first of all, and then trying to get a room to laugh. But you got to laugh out of a teacher, which is a good thing, and a room full of bankers. So yeah, no, well done. And we got a few songs in there as well, but definitely stick to the comedy.
Thanks so much. Neil Sharpson, everyone, well done.